G'day Carbonites, welcome back to Space Engineers Survival Maybe. So last episode we built the massive solar array. Oh, I think it's massive. I mean, it's bigger than what our old one was. Oh, by the way, I demolished that. Yeah, it was in the way. Okay, so I've spent some time in between episodes just working out what we're gonna do with these batteries that we're going to be bringing down, and I've got a design set up ready to go. If I could select it, there we go. Let's turn that on. So she's going to be down here. Now, while I don't know if my design's going to work. I didn't go that far in like testing it. It looks pretty cool, and I think that's the most important part. So I'm gonna dig this out off camera, of course. The idea behind it was I wanted something interesting, because realistically I could just throw a rotor like up on the roof here and it'd be fine. We'd just bring the battery down and plop it on, done. But it's kind of boring. So we've got this contraption that goes into the mountain here, and the battery housing is going to be on a door that folds out. And yeah, we're currently under attack. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so yeah, the door is going to fold out, and then we're going to be able to place the battery on it and then connect it up, and then the door will fold back into the mountain. So I guess it's sort of like protected, I guess, because it's going to be behind a door. But at the same point in time, I needed it out in the open so we can actually get a ship down here and drop it on. But anyway, well, I'll explain it a little bit further after we get it working. So I'm going to start digging. All right, so I've got the outside carved out. I think what we'll do is we'll have a break and we'll go and see if we can get any useful components from those shot down drones. Oh, I've got to fix the offset as well. Actually, someone commented on it and they said there's a script called, I think they said it was offset preserver or something like that. Yeah, so I should have a look at that and see if that's going to do what we want. Did you see that? It grabbed it before it filled it up. Every now and then it does it. It doesn't fill it up first. Yeah, it did it again. It's like the timing's wrong or something. There it is. And before we go up there, let's get rid of this. So we're empty. How's the batteries looking? Let's put these all on recharge. So those two and B1 battery recharge. Oh yeah, I labeled everything. So All the BL1 batteries, they're labeled and they're in their own group as well. And the single battery on its own is just B1 battery. And I labeled the rotors that they're attached to as well. So it'll just make everything a lot simpler when it comes time to disconnecting them and working out what's what. These guys should have plenty of ammo. Looks like they're still fixated on wreckage that's up there, which is bad. 20s, all right. Let's go and clean that mess up. Actually, we'll put this away just in case there's an intact turret. All right, looks like it. I think we've cleaned up all the wreckages. There was quite a bit of stuff there. I filled up my inventory nearly 5 times. Yeah, it's good. The turrets are... They've got their idle movement again, so they're not fixated on any target, on any targets. That's good. I'm thinking what we do is with this middle section, we just use the miner, seeing as we can get into it fairly easily. Hopefully, anyway. Hopefully we don't dig out too much. All right, cool. Okay, so that's actually part of our base. That is the passageway that goes down to the... Fuck it, let's just get the spectator cam. It goes down to the refineries. So that's where that is. We're probably not going to be able to utilize this as a passageway to get down here because the door folds up. And this room becomes very, very tight. So we could possibly make it a window or something so we could see the batteries as we, you know, as we're walking past or whatever. That might look pretty cool. All right, so I need some steel and we're going to get started on this. Okay, so there's meant to be a hole here, and that's for a gadget that I'll explain later. It's a bit difficult when there's nothing here. Let's change this. Let's change this to show only buildable. Might make it easier. So now I can only see the ones that are directly connected to something I've already placed. All right, I think I'm done. Well, I've done the base of it. There's actually quite a lot to do. Okay, so I'm gonna I've probably cut a lot of this out because this is fairly basic. Like, what I'm doing right now is just creating the room itself. And then after I get it all welded up and we start working out the actual mechanics of it, that's when I'll bring you guys back in and we'll go through it all. So I I tried 3 different designs. My first one was a giant pit that was here. Well, not giant. I mean, it was like a 5x5 opening, but the door, I had a blast door that slid underneath the mountain, and then the pit went in. And what I didn't like about that is I had to bring it all the way out here so the door could slide back, because otherwise it got in the way of this, like the base. And I didn't like all this like open space because there was just mountain here, and then there was just a random blast wall pit right here. So I scrapped that idea. My next idea was to have it up here and just have a platform that slid out, and then you put the battery on it and then the platform slides back in. But that didn't work. It had to be really, really bulky for it to work. And I wanted something like really, really small for that design. So, and then I came up with this design with the door that folds open, that has the battery housing on it. And yeah, I like this one the best. There's a drifting pursuant coming. I wonder if it'll make it here. 9k's out. It's actually closing pretty quickly too. I know those guys from Splitsie's playthrough, and they're pretty mean, to be honest. This is actually using up a bit more steel than I had anticipated. I'm pretty sure we'll still have enough. It's just it's surprising how much steel. Like, I realized the blast doors are quite expensive. I think they're like 115, 120. And that's each. So yeah, there's a couple of grand there. But yeah, I was surprised at how much steel went into just that so far. Wow, we're running out of steel plates. There's only about 400 left. I am currently making that, but we're burning through it that quick that it just can't keep up. All right, so we are done. This is the general idea of it, general shape. So we've got this cool little hole here, and I believe we're going to start right here. Oh, we're actually not going to have enough steel for it because I've got to make a door out of blast door parts. So yeah, there's that. All right, let's get rid of this. We need a piston, which we're going to sit right there. Let's spin it around this way. So that will be, the lower limit will be 0 and the upper limit will be 90. That'll be easy to remember. Hopefully. Now we want the blast door edge. Which way are we going to build it? We're going to build it flat out this way first, or should we build it while it's closed? Oh, actually, no, we need to build it as if it's open. Otherwise, that's going to screw up our upper and lower limit. Now, I believe I'm going to have to reduce the what's it called? It's like offset or something. Displacement. I was way off. All right, bring that right back. And then we should be able to get this one in here. Not that one. Yes, there we go. Yeah, I think we'll do it that way. Seeing as we've got this. Yeah, this one's a blast door edge, so the little metal beam is going to be sitting there. So that's why I placed that one like that as well. Because you could rotate it like that. It'll do the same thing, but the metal beams won't be facing the same way. You know what I mean? It's a small thing. All right, so we're going to have a rotor in here, and this is where we attach the battery to. Yep, that should be right. Now, the reason why we're taking the rotor parts off is so we can add a small rotor head to it, and that's how we can convert building in large blocks to building in small blocks. So yeah, these two here. Add small head. So we should have, yeah, there it is. Oh, we don't want a rotor part on this. Oops, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Okay. Now for this part here. We're going to build down, I think it's 3. And then we turn. Yeah. Like that. Okay, so for this rotor here, this is our door. We should label this its base, and then what are we gonna call it? Battery door, I guess. It's kind of lame. All right, so make sure that shear inertia tensor is on. The lower limit is going to be 0. Upper limit is going to be 90. And velocity, let's do negative 0.6. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Piston. This is the base battery door. And we want shear inertia tensor on that as well. Minimum distance is going to be 1 meter. Maximum is going to be 7.5, I think. Velocity negative 0.3. We might actually get it because it's currently at 0 and we want it at 1. So I'm going to extend it out. Which it's not doing. Because it must be stuck on something. Alright, first one. First timer block. Let's rename it to TB base. And this is the battery door. Yeah, sounds good. Setup actions. Okay, so we want to single blocks. We want to go down to the rotor. This one here, reverse, and as well as that, trigger the piston. So essentially, timers allow you to do a sequence. So it'll trigger a number of things at the one time. So when it comes down to that that button panel, I can, instead of saying like button 1 does the piston and button 2 does the rotor, I can just specify that one of the buttons triggers the timer block itself. And then that way it triggers both of those items at once, which is really cool. So we look for that. We want to trigger now. Now we're going to retract the door. Now this is going to bounce around a bit because this is quite heavy. So once it gets up to the top, you'll see it like bounce, and then it'll go back, and then it'll bounce again. Yeah, because it's quite heavy. So that's what this thing's for. I'm going to put a landing gear on here. But that looks like it's too close. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the piston's too far in. It's got to get extended out. I seem to have gotten myself stuck in here. Okay. Let's put a button panel in here somewhere. Which I don't have interior plate for. Oh, I know. I should have the stuff for this, right? Yep. Okay, timer. Oh, that's right, it's just called TB. And then we'll trigger that now, and that'll reverse it. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with that piston. I wonder how I messed it up. Because it was working in my test. It's trying. Maybe I attached the rotor to the blast doors. Instead of attaching it to the piston. Because it doesn't look like that rotor has... Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Timmy's having technical difficulties. Just stand by. All right, welcome back, guys. I managed to get it working. So let's give it a quick test. Just so it doesn't, you know. Yeah, it seems to be working now. So the piston's coming out and the rotor's going down. Now it will bounce a little bit down the bottom here, but I have a way to fix that. Okay, so I got this to work as well. I extended this out by 1 block. I also rotated it a little bit. The piston comes in while it's rotating. So these are on auto lock. So as soon as it touches something, it locks. And that stops it from bouncing back a little bit and then coming forward again and then bouncing back again. So yeah, I think it's just because this door is so heavy and the rotor's having a difficult time trying to stop it right on 90 degrees. Okay, so you can see how much space is in here. Like we could have a double set of batteries. So the plan is, like, for now we're just going to have 3 batteries sitting along here. But when we launch the satellite, I want like a bigger bank of batteries so we don't need to go up there, you know, every couple of days. We can leave it for a couple of weeks and then just come down with a big supply of batteries. So yeah, we could go, we could basically fill this entire platform, which is 15 squares, and then we could go like stack it too high. So 30 batteries. That's a big stockpile of power. Okay, so in order to get that to work, I had to change the button a little bit. So I'll show you that. Let's go back to the timer block. Set up actions. So now the first thing that it does is it unlocks landing gear. So I've put the landing gear in a group called gear base battery door, and it unlocks it. That's all it does. It doesn't switch lock or anything like that, just unlock, and then it hits the reverse on the rotor and the piston. And the reason why I've put the landing gear in a group is because I want to have another landing gear down here, which will lock it when it lands. So let's get that to go back up so we can keep working on this. We're actually going to put a gyroscope on this. Might face it that way. Now the reason why I'm using a gyroscope is not for the actual functionality of the gyroscope itself, but just because of its shape. Now settings for this. I'm just going to drop the power of it down to 1%. That way it doesn't use power. I could just turn it off, but then the lights will go red, and I sort of like the lights green on it. Okay, now we're going to set up that landing gear. So let's just copy that, paste, and we'll change this to bottom. and then select the group and then control click on the new one, save, that'll add it to the group. And then that way it's a part of this timer function. So let's see if it works. Actually, it might be easier to see it from down here. Beautiful. All right, now how high is that? That's pretty high. That's not ideal. All right, I might drop it down a little bit more. All right, let's have a look at this one. So after this, we'll have to build a ship that can carry the batteries for us. Just want to get this set up so we can actually start receiving the power. See how this lines up. Looks better. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. All right, so there's our over-engineered battery receiving station. Oh, later on, we should build like a landing pad like next to it or something. So when we have the ship that comes down from space with the new battery, it lands here, and then we could have some sort of a crane system that picks it up and puts it down on top of this. That would be really cool.